Hello everyone, Rare Mod Reviews here, and today would be a mystery box, but the second package that I was expecting isn't coming until Thursday, and I don't want to wait, so we're going to go ahead and just make this a unboxing slash review. So of course there's not really a mystery of what's inside here, and last time I checked I actually sunsetted that whole entire series, but regardless, you get the gist of it. This is what we have here. So we of course are going to go ahead, take a look inside, and see just exactly what our foremost fighter here is. We know his name is Yamcha, but exactly what are we dealing with here? And now we solve that mystery. So this of course is going to be based off of Yamcha's appearance during the Android saga. So this is going to be him with that strange shortcut of his. So Yamcha was more so a fan favorite, at least in my opinion, during the Dragon Ball series, the predecessor to Dragon Ball Z. He quickly got outshined by characters such as Vegeta, even Piccolo, but he was still a pretty cool character. And as you can see here with this image, this comes with a unique accessory, well, a couple of them actually, for Dr. Gero, which I have, so I think it's pretty fitting that I would get something that would be compatible with a figure already in my collection. So naturally, I could not resist. Now, it'll be very hard for me to open this guy up with one hand, so I'm going to do so real quick. So with most of the Figuarts, they usually have some sort of instructions on how to do anything with the figure on the sides there. So open up the flap, you'll be able to see the Dr. Gero effect actually is attached to his face, so that's very interesting. So I'd have to basically put on the face for Yamcha here and then detach one of Dr. Gero's arms to have that effect of him choking him and what have you. And I'm sure there's going to be another one for him stabbing as well. Or is that just... Nah, we'll see a bit. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, so it's going to be a piece with the body here. So I'm going to assume I'm going to have to... Oh, because I'll wrap something around him for that. It's very interesting. All right. So let's go ahead and get this thing on out here and see what is inside the box. Well, technically we already know what's inside the box, but come on now, it's an unboxing. How could we not? So, of course, first and foremost, we got to remove the top layer of plastic, keeping everything all sealed in and fresh. But I should probably get this off my desk here, too. But one thing I also want to point out with this thing is they usually put this little plastic wrap around the waist, kind of like to stop the waist from rubbing itself on the plastic and all that. I personally think it's a little unnecessary, but just thought I'd go ahead and point that out for you guys. So I'm going to actually take everything out of the box in advance. You already can kind of see it all laid out, so it kind of negates the whole point of me doing my usual spiel of what's inside the box. I mean, you can literally see it. This is all new and fresh to me as well, so I am going to play around with everything a little bit just to make sure everything goes off without a hitch during the review. But as you can see here, there is a plastic piece, or I'm sorry, clear piece around the effect for Gero's hand and the Yamcha being impaled there. Same goes for the other end, which you attach into Gero's, I believe it's the right arm. So I'm very intrigued to see how you end up attaching that onto Yamcha, but I will do so off camera, and we'll see how it looks in action right here. All right, and we're back. So a little disclaimer, I actually did play around this little thing just a bit off camera, but I didn't do articulation, so you at least will get an authentic reaction to that. But I also took the liberty of switching out the hands and the face here just so you guys can get as many of those seen in the review here as possible. So I should roughly be able to get everything shown off in this review by its end, which is actually very rare for these. But moving on along here, get onto the articulation of the head. Full 360 extra style. Moves down pretty far. This is something pretty standard for the Figuarts, so that is not a shocker to me. And it's very pleasing to see that quality has not gone down with this newest release here. So as you can see here, a lot of movement at the arm. You have the sleeve itself that moves a bit. The arm, although it is a little limited in some of the things you can do with the wide range of posability, you can more or less pull off everything you need to with these. Bit of a limited flex at the forearm here, but that more or less is realistic for what a human can do. It's just if you're looking into Gunpla and whatnot, you'll see some mecha that can manage to move a little more than that, but I guess it is a robot, not a human, so naturally you'd have a few less limitations. So the little sash here can move 360. Now that I think about it, I think this is like the only figure I have where there's like this little sash like this. I don't think Goku has anything like that. It's like a little belt kind of like it's under it, but not this actual part here. So it's very unique to Yamcha. So unfortunately, Yamcha cannot do a split. Although I can only say this about a couple of figures I have in my collection that actually can. Back of the leg, I'd say is a perfect bend. Has that toe movement. Most of these have as well. Yeah, 360 under the leg. I always get nervous doing stuff like that. So I'm a little disappointed with the kick. I was hoping to be able to kick a little further, but at least the back kick here is pretty good. And I think I showed it off right, but you do have some 360 at the wrist, and toe movement's decent, not bad. With you moving the legs down, you'll be able to do some decent aerial poses. But I believe that's about it for articulation. So going into accessories, no need to even bother standing them up. We of course have the hands here, and I hate taking these things off. I always feel like I'm gonna break something when I do, though it's so tough to get out. But moving on, I guess I'll do the signature Wolfang fist hand. So get these things on. You can either try to force it in or you could spin them in. I usually try to spin them in. I think spinning them in is the safest way to do so. However, it's never quick and easy when doing so. So there we go. That's one. And I guess I got to do a second one too, huh? So voila. I say voila as I do not get it on. A bit of a spinning, pushing motion. I should be able to get this on eventually. There we go. So now you can get him in his signature Wolfang fist pose here. So very cool. Now I'd have loved if they had some sort of spirit ball effect with this thing, but I guess they do have the option to do that with the appearance of Yamcha during the Saiyan saga. So that's something they could always do for that if they didn't already release it. I'm struggling to stand them up. So I really don't think this... Actually, no. There's one more thing to do. Duh, the face. Yes. The easier thing to do. So taking the face off is easy as ripping it off. And then covering up that eyesore there with a proper face. So, voila. Now, for the last few accessories here, we, of course, have to take out his killer. Yes, I'm pretty sure Dr. Guru killed Yamcha. I'm not going to lie. Some of the Z fighters died so many times, I forget who when they died. So, anywho. Now, the process of doing this is actually very interesting because in order to do so, I'm actually going to have to remove his face yet again. So, you'd be able to replace it with this awkwardy hand-covered face here. And then you would attach this hand onto the face accessory, which actually I should have probably done beforehand. This is going to be a little awkward to do, but I'll pull it off nonetheless. All right. So, there we go. See, Dr. Gero's hand came on much easier than Yamcha, so there we go. You can now have him grabbing Yamcha by the face, but that is not it. There's more to this. So, like I showed off before, there's these little clear pieces here, and then the color pieces. You would attach them right into the armpits there. And then you plug, I'm not sure if you guys can make that out. You see that little socket there? You got to plug that piece into that little socket there. Actually, you know what? Maybe this would be a little easier if I plug it in here. There we go. And then try to maneuver it onto Yamcha. Like I said, this is really awkward to do. I think I pull this off. I don't know if I didn't quite pull it off on camera though, but there we go, more or less. So I can't quite angle it the way it's intended by doing so to look how it's supposed to in a box. I have to fiddle around and play with it. But again, as you can see, you can't have his hand covering his face and giving that effect of him puncturing Yamcha's chest, or rather heart. So you have to play around with it a bit to get it just right. But as you can see, you can't pull off that effect of Yamcha getting killed by Dr. Gero here. And they ironically kind of stabilize each other on the ground too, somehow. But yeah, so I guess that's really about it for the review. So me getting Gero off of Yamcha here. I guess I kind of end this with a size comparison and give you guys my final thoughts on this thing. So I'll give the final thoughts while I'm setting things up, but overall, I definitely recommend this. I love this effect of you being able to recreate the scene of Dr. Gero killing Yamcha. Although it's a little awkward to do, as you just saw, it still is a very amazing effort. And I don't think I've seen anything like that on a Gundam model, at least. The closest thing I'd say I've seen to something like that would be like with the Thunderbolt, Zaku, and the Full Armor Gundam, where there's like a variation of both of those from P-Bandai, of course, in which they're like battle damage, showing off that last final fight scene between the two of them. But I ended up opting out and getting those just because I'd rather have the normal versions of them, although they were tempting. But again, I recommend a lot of these Figuarts. I'd say of all the Figuarts I've gotten, the only ones I couldn't recommend were Android 19, just because the headpieces would not go on, and that really kind of ticked me off. But besides that, everything else has been just fine. They all pose very well. I think the worst posing ones I had were 19, ironically, or unironically, I should say, and then Majin Buu, or Fat Buu, I call him. And again, those are two pretty big guys, so I wasn't too surprised they weren't much of a poser. But besides that, again, these things are always top notch. I forgot I had Dr. Gero's hand on his back still. This guy was expensive, and all of them honestly are kind of expensive. The only ones, ironically, that aren't that expensive are the standard releases, such as like Goku's standard form, Krillin's standard look with his gi, Vegeta, him in his standard attire, whether it's, you know, in armor or how he appeared in superhero, stuff like that. Those are usually around $35, some 25, I believe, but all the other stuff is usually like 40 and up, with them getting even more expensive to like around the hundreds. But I don't really know what else to say here. I like I said, I recommend this thing. I thank you guys so much for watching. Please give it a like if you enjoyed what you saw here. Consider subscribing. It's free of charge, no strings attached, and give us some comments below. I don't really see much interaction with a lot of these Figuarts stuff here, and I can already tell you guys I have one more planned. And although there are a few more I'm considering getting, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little low on morale with these things. They just don't really get the feedback and views, you know, I prefer with how expensive these things are to buy. You know, I like to see some sort of investment back with them. But that aside, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned to my next video, which will be an unboxing. I'll spoil that right now. Take care, you guys.